the ocean vast and empty. The ship Albatross sailed alone. Captain Blake, a hard man, scanned the horizon. Weeks at sea, not a single sign of life. Just the endless blue. The sun beat down. The crew worked, silent. Even the sea seemed asleep. A strange peace settled over the Albatross. Little did they know, something watched from below. A shape formed beneath the waves, impossibly large. It moved, a dark mass in the deep. The water stirred. A sailor, young Thomas, saw it first. "Captain, look," his voice was a whisper. Captain Blake squinted. A darkness far below. It was rising, fast. "What in God's name?" he muttered. The water bulged. A monstrous form erupted. Tentacles, thick as masts, lashed the air. Eyes, bigger than a man, stared at the ship. The crew froze. Terror in their eyes. Screams broke the silence. Men scrambled back. The creature was real. A nightmare made flesh. Captain Blake, fear forgotten, roared, "Man the cannons, for God's sake, fire!" The cannons roared, their thunderous blasts echoing across the turbulent sea. Each shot was a desperate attempt to fend off the monstrous threat that loomed beneath the waves. The crew, seasoned sailors with nerves of steel, worked in unison, their faces set in grim determination. They had faced many dangers before, but nothing like this. The air was thick with the acrid smell of gunpowder and the salty tang of the ocean. The ship's deck vibrated with each cannon's discharge, a symphony of war against an ancient terror. Iron shot tore into the creature's flesh, each impact sending ripples through the water. The beast's hide was tough, but the relentless barrage began to take its toll. The sea churned with the creature's blood, a dark stain spreading across the surface. The sailors watched with a mix of hope and fear, praying that their efforts would be enough to drive the monster away. The cannonballs, though powerful, seemed almost insignificant against the sheer size and strength of the beast. Yet they continued to fire, their resolve unbroken. It shrieked, a sound that chilled the soul. The creature's cry was unlike anything the sailors had ever heard, a haunting wail that seemed to pierce the very fabric of reality. It was a sound of pain, of rage, and of an ancient, unfathomable power. The men on deck shuddered, their hearts pounding in their chests. They knew that they were facing something far beyond their understanding, a force of nature that defied all logic and reason. The creature's scream echoed in their minds, a reminder of the peril they faced, but it did not falter. Despite the wounds inflicted by the cannon fire, the creature pressed on, its massive form undeterred. It was a testament to its resilience, a creature born of the deep, forged in the crucible of the ocean's darkest depths. The sailors could see the determination in its movements, a relentless drive to destroy the intruders who dared to challenge it. The battle was far from over, and the outcome was anything but certain. The creature's persistence was a stark reminder of the formidable foe they faced. One tentacle, scarred but strong, slammed onto the deck with a force that shook the entire ship. The wood creaked and groaned under the immense pressure, splinters flying as the tentacle writhed and twisted. The sailors scrambled to avoid its crushing grip, their movements frantic and desperate. The tentacle was a monstrous thing, covered in scars and suckers, a living weapon of destruction. It was a stark reminder of the creature's power, a force of nature that could not be easily tamed or defeated. The battle raged on, each moment a fight for survival. Men screamed, thrown into the sea by the violent thrashing of the tentacle. The cold water swallowed them, their cries for help lost in the chaos of the battle. The ship's crew was being decimated, their numbers dwindling with each passing moment. The sea, once their ally, had become a merciless adversary, claiming the lives of those who had dared to challenge the beast. The remaining sailors fought on, their spirits unbroken despite the overwhelming odds. They knew that their only hope lay in defeating the creature, no matter the cost. The ship tilted, groaning in protest as the creature's weight bore down upon it. The timbers strained and creaked, the vessel struggling to stay afloat. The once sturdy ship was now a fragile lifeline, its survival hanging by a thread. The sailors clung to whatever they could, their knuckles white with the effort. The sea roared around them, waves crashing against the hull with relentless fury. The ship's fate was uncertain, its future tied to the outcome of the battle raging on its deck. Captain Blake, clinging to the railing, knew that they were facing a nightmare made flesh. His eyes scanned the chaos, taking in the sight of his men fighting for their lives, the ship struggling to stay afloat, and the monstrous creature that threatened to destroy them all. He had faced many dangers in his time, but nothing like this. The weight of responsibility pressed down on him, but he refused to give in to despair. He knew that he had to lead his men, to inspire them to fight on, no matter the odds. This was no mere animal. Captain Blake understood that they were up against a force of nature, a creature born of the darkest depths of the ocean. It was a being of immense power and ancient rage, a monster that defied all understanding. The captain's mind raced, searching for a way to turn the tide of battle. He knew that their only hope lay in their unity, their determination, and their courage. They had to fight with everything they had, to stand together against the terror that threatened to consume them. This was a monster from the abyss, a creature of legend and nightmare. As it rose from the depths, its massive form casting a shadow over the ship, the sailors could only stare in awe and terror. The battle was far from over, and the outcome was uncertain. But one thing was clear. They were fighting for their lives against a force that defied all comprehension. The sea, once a source of life and sustenance, had become a battleground, and the sailors knew that they had to give everything they had to survive. Section 5, a creature of legend, giant squid. The very mention of its name sends shivers down the spines of seasoned sailors and curious land-dwellers alike. This elusive behemoth of the deep has been the subject of countless myths and legends, each more terrifying than the last. Sailors' tales whispered of them. In hushed tones they spoke of monstrous tentacles that could reach up from the abyss and drag entire ships into the watery depths. These stories, passed down through generations, were often dismissed as mere seafarers' yarns, exaggerated to entertain and frighten. Creatures of immense size, dwelling in the blackest depths. The ocean, vast and unexplored, holds many secrets, but none as captivating or as fearsome as the giant squid. These leviathans, with eyes the size of dinner plates, navigate the pitch-black waters with an eerie grace, their long tentacles trailing behind them like ghostly apparitions. Legends said they could crush ships with their tentacles. Legends were true. The power of these creatures is almost unimaginable. With a single swift movement, they can ensnare a vessel, their tentacles coiling around the hull with a vice-like grip. The ship's timbers groan and splinter under the immense pressure, a testament to the squid's formidable strength. The albatross creaked, caught in a deadly embrace. The crew, seasoned mariners all, had never encountered anything like it. The ship, once a proud and sturdy vessel, now seemed like a fragile toy in the clutches of this monstrous beast. The sailors' faces, etched with fear and determination, told a story of a desperate struggle for survival. The squid's beak, a wicked scimitar, tore at the rigging. This beak, sharp and unforgiving, is the squid's primary weapon, capable of slicing through thick ropes and wooden planks with ease. The rigging, once a complex web of lines and sails, now lay in tatters, a testament to the creature's relentless assault. Men fought back, their courage dwarfed by the sheer scale of their enemy. Armed with harpoons and whatever weapons they could find, the sailors launched a counterattack. Their bravery, though commendable, seemed almost futile against the might of the giant squid. Each thrust of a harpoon was met with a swift retaliation, the tentacles lashing out with deadly precision. The battle raged on, a chaotic dance of man versus beast, with the outcome hanging in a precarious balance. Harpoons flew, useless against the creature's hide. The crew had prepared for this moment, their hearts pounding with a mix of fear and determination. Each harpoon, meticulously crafted and sharpened, was launched with all the strength they could muster. But the beast's hide was like iron, impervious to their attacks. The water splashed violently as the harpoons fell back, defeated by the creature's impenetrable armor. Axes bit deep, only to be met with a fresh surge of fury. The crew swung their axes with desperation, their muscles straining with each powerful blow. The sound of metal against wood echoed through the chaos, a testament to their relentless effort. Yet for every inch they gained, the creature responded with a renewed ferocity, its tentacles thrashing and coiling with a terrifying strength. The deck became a battlefield, a place where every swing of the axe was a fight for survival. The ship groaned, a living thing in pain. It swayed and creaked under the immense pressure, its timbers protesting against the relentless assault. The once sturdy vessel now seemed fragile, its very essence tested by the monstrous force it faced. Every wave that crashed against its hull felt like a hammer blow, and the ship's creaks were like cries of agony, echoing the crew's own struggle. The crew, battered and weary, fought on. Their faces were etched with exhaustion, their bodies pushed to the brink, yet they refused to give in. Each sailor knew that their survival depended on their collective strength and determination. They moved with a grim resolve, their actions synchronized by necessity. The rough seas added to their torment, but they held their ground, driven by a shared will to fight until the end. Captain Blake, face blooded, refused to yield. His voice, though hoarse and strained, carried the weight of authority and unyielding spirit. He shouted orders, his eyes blazing with a fierce determination. The blood on his face was a testament to his own battle, a symbol of his refusal to surrender. He moved with purpose, his presence a rallying point for the crew. In his heart, he knew the odds were against them, but he would not let despair take hold. He hacked at a tentacle, feeling a surge of futile anger. The creature's grip was relentless, its tentacles wrapping around the ship with a vice-like hold. Captain Blake's strikes were fueled by a mix of rage and desperation, each cut a defiant act against the overwhelming force. But the tentacle seemed impervious, its flesh resisting the blade's edge. The captain's anger grew, a burning fire that drove him to keep fighting, even as hope seemed to slip away. This was a battle they could not win. The realization settled over the crew like a dark cloud, a heavy truth that weighed on their spirits. The creature's power was undeniable, its presence a force of nature that they could not overcome. The ship was being overwhelmed, its defenses crumbling under the relentless assault. Yet even in the face of certain defeat, the crew did not falter. They stood their ground, their resolve unbroken, but they would die fighting. The crew's determination was a beacon of hope in the darkness. Each member fought with a fierce resolve, their actions a testament to their courage and loyalty. They knew that their chances of survival were slim, but they refused to go down without a fight. The battle raged on, a desperate struggle against insurmountable odds. In their hearts, they carried the spirit of warriors, ready to face whatever fate awaited them. Then, as if bored with its prey, the creature loosened its grip. It withdrew, slowly sinking beneath the waves, leaving behind a trail of wreckage and the silence of death. The few survivors clung to the wreckage, watching the monster disappear. Relief was a foreign emotion. They had lived, but the memory of those eyes, those tentacles, would haunt their dreams forever. The albatross was gone, swallowed by the depths. Only a few broken men returned to tell the tale. A tale met with disbelief, with whispers of madness, but Captain Blake, his face a mask of grief and terror, knew the truth. He had looked into the abyss, and the abyss had looked back. The ocean remained, vast, unknowable. Holding secrets man was not meant to find. Sailors still whispered of that day, a warning, a prayer, beware the whispers of the deep. For down in the black something stirred, waiting, watching. The giant squid lived on, a nightmare in the deep.